There is a moment in every marriage, a quiet, ordinary moment, when you look at the person across the table, the one who used to make your heart race just by walking in the room, and you feel nothing. Not anger, not sadness, just nothing. That was the day I knew. The day I stopped loving my husband, but what I didn't know, what I couldn't have known, was what I was about to lose. His name was Daniel Cole, and the first time I saw him, he was fixing a broken sprinkler in his front yard, soaking wet, laughing at himself. I had just moved into the house next door. Boxes everywhere, nobody to help me carry them. He didn't even ask. He just walked over, picked up the heaviest box, and said, "Daniel, which room?" That was Daniel. He didn't wait to be asked to do good things. He just did them. We got married 3 years later. In a small ceremony, just family, just us, and for a while, for a beautiful, real while, it was everything. But somewhere between year 4 and year 7, something changed. Daniel started working longer hours. He'd come home quiet, eat dinner with his eyes somewhere else, go to bed without saying much. I told myself it was stress, work pressure, normal things, but weeks became months. And I started eating dinner alone even when he was sitting right there. I tried to reach him. I tried. Daniel, talk to me. What's happening with you? Daniel, nothing, Sarah. I'm just tired. Always tired, never present, and I was so lonely. The kind of lonely that hurts worse because you're not alone. There was a chair in our living room, a blue armchair by the window. Daniel used to sit there on Sunday mornings, reading, drinking coffee, calling me over just to sit next to him. One day I realized I couldn't remember the last time he sat in it. That empty chair haunted me more than any argument ever could. I started writing in a journal, not to him, not to anyone, just to get the weight out of my chest. I don't know when I stopped being his person. I don't know when he stopped being mine. But today I looked at him and I felt like I was looking at a stranger wearing my husband's face. That was the night I admitted it to myself. The love, that warm, certain, steady love, was gone. I didn't plan to leave. I want you to know that. But one morning in November, gray sky, cold house, I packed a bag, not all my things, just enough. Daniel was in the kitchen. He didn't ask where I was going. He just watched me from the doorway. I need some time, Daniel. He nodded. Slow, like he'd been expecting it, like maybe he'd been waiting for it. I walked to my car. I didn't look back. I stayed at my sister's place in Columbus for 3 months. At first, the silence felt like relief. No tension in the air, no careful words, but relief faded, and what replaced it was something I wasn't prepared for. Grief. Not for the man who came home silent and distant, but for the man who once carried my boxes without being asked, for the man who used to sit in the blue chair on Sunday mornings and call me over just to sit close to him. I grieved who we used to be, and I didn't know if that person still existed anywhere. In him, in me, in us. The letter. 4 months after I left, a letter arrived at my sister's address, handwritten. Daniel's handwriting. I recognized the uneven way he wrote the letter S. I held it for a long time before I opened it. When I did, it wasn't what I expected. Daniel's letter. Sarah, I'm not writing to ask you to come back. I'm writing because you deserve to know the truth. The truth I should have told you 2 years ago. I was diagnosed with severe depression in the spring of year 5. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't know how to tell anyone. I thought if I just kept going, kept working, kept moving, it would go away. It didn't, and I watched myself disappear from our life, and I didn't know how to stop it. I kept telling myself tomorrow I'd be better. Tomorrow I'd tell you. Tomorrow never came. I'm sorry, Sarah, not because you left, but because I left first, while still standing in the same room. I read it 3 times. Then I sat on the floor of my sister's kitchen, and I cried in a way I hadn't cried in years. I drove back to our house the next morning. Not to fix everything. Not because the letter solved everything. But because that letter was the first honest thing he had said to me in 2 years, and I needed to look him in the eye when I responded. I pulled into the driveway. The blue armchair was on the front porch. Daniel was sitting in it. He looked different. Thinner, older, but his eyes, when he saw me, his eyes were awake in a way they hadn't been in years. I walked up and sat on the porch steps. We didn't hug. We didn't speak right away. Me, why did you move the chair outside? Daniel. Because I couldn't sit in it inside anymore. It reminded me of you, but out here, I could at least see the street, and some part of me kept thinking, maybe one day I'd see your car. I looked at that man. This man I had decided I no longer loved. And I understood something in that moment that I had never understood before. I had stopped loving who he had become, but I had never stopped loving who he was, and he was still in there, fighting to come back, alone. I won't stand here and tell you we fixed everything that day. We didn't. There were months of counseling, hard conversations, days when I didn't know if we'd make it, days when he didn't know either. Daniel got help, real help. For the first time, he stopped carrying it alone, and slowly, the man I married started coming back. Not the same as before, better, more honest, more present, more real. The blue armchair went back inside, by the window, where it belonged. I thought the day I stopped loving my husband was the end of our story. It wasn't. It was the moment the real story began. Because love, true love, isn't just the feeling. It's the choice you make when the feeling goes quiet. And sometimes the person you love is fighting a battle so dark they don't even have words for it. Not because they stopped caring, but because the darkness told them that no one would understand. If you are sitting next to someone right now, someone quiet, someone distant, someone who used to laugh differently, ask them again. Ask them gently. Ask them like their answer matters, because it does. Have you ever felt like you were losing someone who is still right there? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Share this with someone who needs it today.